Hi, I'm David Brannon, disability lawyer, founder here at Resolute Legal. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what happens after you file the notice of appeal to the Social Security Tribunal. So after watching this video, you're going to know what happens next once you send in your notice of appeal form to the Social Security Tribunal, and you'll have a better idea of what to expect. Now, if you like this video, hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe, and make sure to get the bell notification so that you get notice of our videos a few times a week, and don't forget to leave some comments if you want to. So what happens after you file your notice of appeal to the Social Security Tribunal? If you are applying for CPP Disability, you've been denied, you did an appeal with Service Canada, you got a reconsideration denial. The next step is you apply to the Social Security Tribunal, and you do that by filing a notice of appeal. And we've talked about the notice of appeal and did a walkthrough in other videos. In this video, we're going to talk about what happens after you submit your notice of appeal. So there's a few things that are going to happen. You're going to get a letter from the Social Security Tribunal that's going to set out specific information, and let's go take a look at that letter right now. Okay, let's take a look at this letter. So just to set this up again, you've sent in your notice of appeal to the tribunal, and this is what you should expect. The next thing you should get is this letter. If you don't get this letter within, a few weeks, you better be on the phone with them because something's wrong, okay? So this letter comes back to you. Now you'll see this one here is dated November 30th, so it's very new at the time of recording of this video. And it's sent to Katie Conrad, who is actually a lawyer at our firm. And this was sent to her because we were representing somebody. So the appellant here would be you, and your tribunal number would be here. And you can see this is coming from the Social Security Tribunal. This is the actual letter. It came by email. Okay, let's go through this letter so you can know what happens next. So the next thing you should expect is to get this letter. It's the same letter that gets sent out to everybody. This one is worded like it's being sent to a representative, but if you're representing yourself, it'll just say, instead of saying your client, it'll just say you. The first thing to know here is this letter is going to come with documents attached, and this is mentioned right here in bold. So they are attaching what I call the first, well, not just me, but what is called the hearing file. The first the first volume of the hearing file is being attached here. This is what they're talking about from Employment and Social Development Canada. That's the department that runs Service Canada that administers the CPP. What they're saying they're attaching here is the complete file from your CPP file. That's perfect. You probably haven't seen this yet, and that's going to have a lot of information that's going to help you with your appeal. So usually that will be attached here because usually they wait to receive that before sending this out. So almost always you're going to have that attached. And think of that as the first volume of your hearing documents. It's called the hearing file, and you're going to add to it, but this is the first set of them. You have to keep this. This is an official document. You have to keep it safe and not lose it. Don't mark on it. Keep it safe. You're going to need it later on. Next step, they're telling you, send us your documents. We've gotten the documents, first set of documents from Service Canada. Send us your documents, and that's correct. Now is the time, once you've gotten this letter, you can now start sending them in your documents. You can do it now because you're going to have your file number here that you're going to reference, and you're going to write that on all the documents you send in just to be safe. And you can see here that they're encouraging both sides. When it says parties, that means you are a party. It's parties to this matter. So it's you and Service Canada are the parties. So they're encouraging both of you to send us quickly your documents so they can get this appeal done quickly. They're not focused on dragging things out. The Social Security Tribunal is very focused on moving things fast. So that's great, but not great if it moves so fast that you're not ready, which is the problem that we see come up. The longest possible time you have is until November 9th, 2021. It's 1 year. So you have 1 year from the date they receive your notice of appeal to get all your documents in. So this letter, while this letter is dated November 30th, this tells me that they received your notice of appeal on November 9th because they'd have stamped it, and that's where they draw this deadline from. So this person would have basically a year to get all their documents in. Now, obviously you don't want to wait a year if you can get by without doing that, but that is the longest that it could take. Next part here, notice of readiness form. This is going to be a form that is attached to this letter. I'm going to deal with it in a separate video, but we'll just talk about it generally here. This form causes more problems than anything else It's the root of a lot of problems, okay? This is a form that you should not send in until you've actually got legal advice, in my opinion. I think this is a real disaster. This has caused more problems for people who contact us too late, and it's sometimes we're able to fix it, many times we're not. So let's look at this. This notice of readiness. When you send in the notice of readiness, it means your client, or in your case, you, are ready for the appeal to go ahead. I've highlighted this. You do not have any more documents to send us. When you send in this notice of readiness form, you are certifying there's nothing more to be sent in. I've given you all my submissions. I've given you all the documents. There's nothing else I want to give you. So what you can't do is send in this form, get the process started for your hearing, and then call us up and say, oh, you know what? I got a hearing coming up. I would like you guys to represent me. We're going to just sort of slap our forehead and say, oh man, why did you send in that notice of readiness form? We now can't send in our written submissions. We can't review your file to identify gaps in information, red flags, and go get more information. You've basically made it almost impossible for us to win this case, okay? Because it's very rare a client, and by very rare I mean never. Never has a client come to us with everything they need to win an appeal. It's never happened, right? There's always going to be more information that we could go get that's going to be, because we don't want to just have enough to win. We want to have overload of information. Like, you want to really make sure you got more than you need to try to win a case. And so I've never had a client approach us where they've had all the documents and we haven't had to do anything. The only time that's ever happened is when they approach us after filing this and we're barred from sending in more stuff. So right here, if you send us more documents after you have sent us the notice of readiness form, which is attached to this letter, we may not accept them. Sometimes they will accept them, but you don't want to play that game. Why do you want to? You've got too much on the line here. You're looking at hundreds of thousands of future payments from the CPP disability for most people. Why would you want to risk all that? Why? This is why I don't understand why people take these kind of risks with this case. There's so much money at stake here. Why are you going to be cavalier with sending in forms before getting advice? Bad idea. The appeal can only go ahead when all parties are ready and have sent in the forms, these notice of readiness forms. So if no one sends in a notice of readiness form, they're going to start scheduling a hearing after November 9th, 2021, right? They're going to schedule it no matter what. So again, sometimes people come to us. They come to us when they get the letter from Social Security saying it's now after November 9th. You have not sent us any documents, or we haven't received your notice of readiness. We're going to go ahead with scheduling a hearing. People will then call us then. Mistake. Again, once you go past November 1, you can't submit more documents. So you don't want to go get help from a lawyer when you're already at a point where you can't submit more documents. That defeats the whole purpose of getting a lawyer to help. Now, again, sometimes we can get an extension and these things, but you don't want to be into that because maybe you can't get the extension and maybe you're going to be stuck with having a very suboptimal appeal put forward. Now, if one of the parties sends documents during the last month before the deadline, so if Service Canada sends a whole bunch of things within the last 30 days before this November 9th deadline, they'll extend it to give you some more time to respond, but that's usually not enough. If they send in a bunch of things and you're like, holy wow, like they're saying all this stuff, I got to now go try to get these medical files to prove them wrong because they're completely wrong here. You probably can't get files in 30 days from a doctor. The time you contact them, they send it. You're not going to be able to do it. So you don't want to wait until the last minute to do this stuff. It says here, if you need to send documents after the deadline, you have to tell us why and why you could not send them in on time. All right, here's the thing. The reason you can't send them in on time can't just be that you didn't have them. All right, they're not going to accept that. It has to be that the documents didn't exist. Like by the time I only saw this doctor last week, so I just got the report. The report didn't exist until like this week. It has to be something like that. It can't be that, well, I didn't have my family doctor's complete file, but now I got it. Well, they're going to say, look, you could have gotten that. That existed before the deadline. You could have gotten it. They might not accept it, right? Do not rely on like exceptions to try to get around this here. Now, how to send documents in. They're telling you how to send things in. We send everything by email, but you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to scan things in a high quality scan. So they might not accept them if you're just taking pictures with your phone and sending them a bunch of things attached to an email. They might not accept that. So you might have to send them regular mail, not courier. So by regular mail, that does include, in most cases, express post through Canada Post. So I would encourage you to use express post if you're going to send things. Don't try to courier things. Faxing, don't fax things. We've always had problems with faxing. Their fax doesn't work half the time, or it's overloaded. You should send them regular mail or email. Keep copies of everything you send them. That's correct. You should write your number on the first page if you have the ability. Like, we stamp it with PDFs and things like that. But if you can just handwrite it, that way is important. First page of each document, so that way there's no, if it gets mixed up, they know what file it goes in. Now, this is important, and I spoke about this earlier. When they get documents, they are going to stamp them as official hearing file copies of the documents. These are the official versions that can be used in the hearing, and they're going to send you copies of those. So it doesn't matter that you have your own copy of the doctor's file. That is irrelevant for the hearing. You have to use the stamped copy of that file that you got back that is now part of the official hearing file. Okay, so what we see some people do is they get these official files back from the tribunal and they don't really they just kind of disregard them. They jumble them up, mix them around, take pages out, write on them. Do not do that. When these files come back from the tribunal that are the official stamped copies, even of things that you've sent them, you have to keep them like you would treat like a gentle little baby. Like, put them all in a box, put them in a folder, make sure they're all together. Do not disturb them. Don't shuffle them around. Don't do the thing where the client comes in with the Sobeys bag or the grocery bag full of all the jumbled up. It's like, oh my, no. You got to keep these things, keep it pristine. Because this is the thing you're going to have to refer to the hearing, and you don't want to have missing pages and things scribbled around all on it. You want the official copies. Now, if you want to scribble them up and mix them around, make another copy and do that, okay? Keep them all in a secure place, and if you're going to go get a lawyer, the lawyer's going to want to know where are all the official copies. It's a nuisance to go back to Service Canada or to Social Security Tribunal to try to get a second copy of these sent sometimes. So it's better if you just keep them all. That way, if you get a lawyer, you'll be able to give them all to your lawyer. If your contact information changes, obviously let them know. You're going to miss letters and things from them. Your case could just be dismissed. And that's it. So this is just an overview. I'm just going to go back to the top here. This is an overview of what happens after you file your notice of appeal. You're going to get this letter. It's got these things attached, and I've just talked to you about some of the next steps. And that's it. So there you got it. Now you know what to expect after you file your notice of appeal. You're going to get a letter from the Social Security Tribunal confirming they've got your letter. It's going to set out important dates, and it's going to include the notice of readiness form, which you are going to have to be very careful with, and that we've covered in other videos. Now, if you like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and don't forget to leave comments. We love to get those comments, and I'll see you back here next time.